What's up, y'all? It is Monday, and this week I'm going to be filming every day in the gym, all of my workouts, all of my physical activity, basically, because I'm going to be sharing a week of workouts for you guys. I'm not going to take too long on this intro, but I just wanted to share my split. So as of lately, I've been doing a lower body day, Monday, and I focus on hamstrings and glutes. Upper body day on Tuesday. I break it up with a cardio and abs day, usually a Sydney Cummings workout. And then on Thursday, I'll repeat that. So I'll do a lower body day, but quad focused. Friday, upper body day. And then on the weekends, I'll have a active day. Like usually I'll jog at least a mile and do some abs or something. And then the day after that is an active rest. So usually a walk or some yoga. I've always put leg day on a Monday, but I used to always put quads on a Monday. And now I prefer to do hamstring and glutes just because I find that on Mondays, I'm struggling a little bit to I don't know, like I don't have as much strength. It's the first day of the week and I'm just more tired. So lately I've been doing hamstrings and glutes on Monday and I really enjoy that. And basically with this split, I'm hitting every body part twice in the week, which I find very helpful. And if you watch my video from last week, you know that I have several goals and you can watch that of how I'm working toward those goals, but you'll see how I implement everything in my week of workouts. I've already taken my pre-workout, which is just creatine as well as my high volume. And we're gonna bring my water, gonna bring my hip thrusts barbell cover so I can do hip thrusts, and let's go down to the gym. All right, for all of my workouts, I always start with a warm-up. Y'all know this. This is so important, especially for leg days. So I'm gonna show you what I do in this video for warm-ups, and they are specific to hamstrings and glutes versus quads. So this is what I do for hamstring and glute day. Sometimes I change it up, but for me, it's really important to get my mobility in and just really warm up those muscles, but also to activate my muscles. So here I am not only warming up my glutes, but this is going to activate my glutes so that when I do exercises, it will really work on those muscles. This is a light resistance band. I'm just doing some kickbacks. I basically warm up for about 10 minutes. You really can do anything as long as you're feeling that burn start to come through. And you can see when I'm doing these squats, I keep the tension the whole time and I squeeze in through my glutes, but also using my hamstrings. These side to side walks will really have your glutes burning. They're a great activation exercise. Here, this is a great warm up, side to side lunges. Going pretty slow here. Everything in this video for the most part is real time. You'll be able to tell when it's sped up, but once we're warmed up, we can go ahead and move on to my first workout, which are box squats. I'm gonna put the sets and reps on the screen just because it's easier that way, but here I am warming up with just the barbell. And then I add some weight, so this is a total of 95 pounds. You can see that when I first set up to do this squat, I back up all the way to the bench and then step a little bit forward in order to find my foot placement. The other thing I want to point out is how I'm squeezing my glutes. I don't make that ugly butt that a lot of people say to do. It's more so squeezing through your butt cheeks, but not I don't know how to explain it, but you can see here that I am tensing my glutes, but not making the scrunchy butt that everybody says to do. Moving on to hip thrusts, and here I am doing 135 pounds. I wanted to show how I set up for this. I'm a little bit short, so this bench is probably a little too tall for me, but that's just going to be a problem always. I keep my head facing forward, so keep your neck to your chest the whole time. And try to drive through your heels as much as possible while you thrust up. And I always do a little bit of a hold at the top. This barbell pad is a life changer if you are used to doing hip thrusts with, mat or something else, then I definitely recommend you get a cover. Then we're moving on to Romanian deadlifts. I have my feet propped up on 2 little plates here. This is so I can get more depth. And again, here, I'm not squeezing my glutes to make that ugly butt. I am squeezing through my glutes though. Hopefully you can see more of that when I'm doing this exercise. But that way it will help your glutes to actually grow, and it will also be working on your hamstrings. Here I am doing 65 pounds. With Romanian deadlifts, I basically keep the tension the whole time, so you can see when I go up, I'm not letting loose or anything, and I go down basically a little bit past mid-calf, and that's what I prefer to do. Whatever you're most comfortable with, some people don't go as low. I usually throw these in at the end. It's just whenever I can fit them in, because sometimes equipment gets taken up at the gym, so you guys know that every leg day I am doing these leg raises, trying to work on my core strength, my grip strength, everything in between. So I did 3 sets of 10, nothing new here. I'm really trying to get better at these, and I definitely can feel the difference, but also I still have to stop myself with the weight at the bottom. So it just depends. I'm trying to gain more control when I do this actual exercise. Next, I moved on to kickbacks, and these actually aren't straight back. I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is working, I believe, more of my gluteus medius, so that's like the side glute, because I'm pointing my toe out away from me and then kicking my foot away from me as well. You can kind of tell here it's a little bit at an angle instead of just kicking straight back. I prefer to go pretty parallel to the floor just because that puts less pressure on my back, but it's really up to you. Just make sure you're properly squeezing that glute. And again, you can see here how my foot is going at an angle and targeting that side glute. You could just do regular kickbacks. I typically change it up from week to week, so I'll do these side ones and then next week I'll do straight back. Can't forget about hamstring curls. This is usually the last exercise I do, or the first, it just depends. And I do sets of 20, and I think I have like 45 pounds set here. For those kickbacks, by the way, I was doing 35 pounds. But here I am going actually kind of fast now that I'm looking at this, because this is real time and I feel like I should slow these down, but they do really burn, especially by the end of your workout. You can see in my face that I was really starting to struggle there, and I do 4 sets of 20. And then for leg days, I always will, it depends on the day, but if I didn't get enough steps in, I'll usually just walk for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll do a full 30. I think on this day, I just did about 15 minutes at an incline of 2, speed of like 3. I did stretch, but I didn't film the whole stretch. I just wanted to show some of the things that I do. And like I said before, I will film a whole video on my stretch routine, but I do get in about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of my workout. Now we're moving on to upper body, and here's how I warm up for upper body. This is about the same each time, and I use this resistance band. I can link these down below. They are amazing. They're fabric, so they're not gonna like snap on you, but I basically do some pulls with these. I go back and forth. I do some twists with my shoulders and such, and it really starts to warm up everything in my upper body. I do bicep curls with the resistance band. You could go heavier if you wanted to. I just prefer to use the light band. I also do some back exercises, so I'll just do like a row, bent over row with the resistance band, as well as some shoulder press. And again, same with this warm up, the upper body day, it usually takes me a little less than 10 minutes. I would say upper body day is about the same, so I'll do each exercise like 10 times or so and repeat that for 2 sets, just so I'm really warmed up and comfortable. When I do upper body, it really is my whole upper body, so I have to make sure everything's warmed up properly. Here I'm doing some tricep warm-ups. And even for this day, I ended up doing some squats because I knew that I was deadlifting, and if you are familiar with like a conventional deadlift, you know that also requires some leg work. So I make sure to warm up my body. The gym has been really cold, so just overall always warm up, even if it's hot, but especially when it's cold. Did start with deadlifts. This is just a warm-up set with 65 pounds, and I think I did 10 reps. Here I went up to 85, and again, this is still kind of a warm-up, and then I eventually move on to the working sets. And when it comes to compound movements like this, I'll usually do 4 or 5, sometimes 6 sets because of, you really got to warm up those muscles before you go any heavier. I can't go too crazy. The heaviest that I went here, I believe, was 125. So this right here, I'm lifting 115. I put my belt on for this just to make sure I have support and that I am properly breathing. And then I finished with 125. I don't need to go too heavy. I definitely want to, but obviously you guys know with my health issues, I'm trying to be careful. It does feel good to get back to lifting a little bit heavier. The next exercise I move on to are some bent over rows using a barbell. This is 65 pounds. I keep 65 pounds the whole time. You can also see that my back stays flat the whole time. My neck stays in line. This is really important. And I switch between underhand and overhand. So here you see me doing underhand. I go down, stretch my arms pretty far, and then pull back. Here I'm doing overhand, and same idea. So you'll see that I extend my arms so that my back gets a stretch in it, and then pull back, retract that muscle. I like to be barefoot. I should have mentioned this before. I like to be barefoot for deadlifts and anything of this sort where I'm bending over and it requires balance. You definitely don't want any crazy arches in your shoes when you're doing something like deadlifts or squats, which is why I go barefoot. You could use proper shoes for it, but I just think it's a lot easier to just take my shoes off. Moved on to pull-ups. You guys know that I'm working on these. So I use my 2 resistance bands, the heavy and the medium, and I kind of showed how I got into this because sometimes I can lose my balance. Each upper body day, I try to do at least 15 pull-ups. Eventually I'll increase this, but I think this day I might have done 16, or I don't know. I think I did 2 sets of 8. And you can see that for some parts I'm struggling. Like this is sped up a little bit, and if I'm holding at the bottom a little bit longer, that's just because I'm getting fatigued. And then I did also do my dead hangs since I'm working on my grip. If you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to watch my previous video, or actually 2 videos ago, where I talk about working toward my fitness goals, because I mentioned what I'm trying to do. And here I am just hanging to work on my grip strength. This is also a really good stretch for your back, for your spine, for your neck, etc. And it kind of feels good aside from the pressure on your hands. I did 2 sets of these. I think I held on for 35 seconds each set. There's some days that I'm stronger than other days, and I also change up my grip sometimes. So if you look at the previous one, I believe I was just hanging with my fingers, and then this one I was doing a full grip, but it just depends. Next exercise, shoulder press with barbell. I actually prefer to do shoulder press with dumbbells, but I will challenge myself by using the barbell. I can go pretty heavy with dumbbells, but for some reason the barbell just feels a lot heavier. So here I'm just using the 45 initially, and I try to make sure I have a really good stance, like a power pose in this. Make sure you're balanced, make sure your hands are even, and I go down to my chest basically, like right under my chin, and back up. Here I added on 2 5-pound plates for a total of 55. This was actually too heavy for me. You can tell that I'm struggling. So for the next set, I went to just 50. So these are 2.5-pound plates, and did the same thing. And I think I was doing 6 reps at this point just because my shoulders were so fatigued. And again, for upper body, I typically only do 3 sets of everything aside from like those bigger compound movements like deadlifts. Flat bench chest press with dumbbells. I'm using 25-pound dumbbells here. For these, you definitely want to, it's hard to tell because you can't really see it, but you really want to make sure you're squeezing your chest together. Once you do this, you'll be able to feel it. So I come basically parallel to the floor, push back up. I don't really let the dumbbells touch in the center, and I really squeeze my pecs together to get that contraction. I like to put my feet up on the bench just because I don't like the position of my feet hanging down, but that's because I'm short probably, so it's really up to you on how you're comfortable. I then moved on to this superset of shoulder raises, lateral shoulder raises. I did 12, and these are 10-pound dumbbells, and I supersetted that with push-ups, and you'll see that I change up the variation. So first I do these like regular push-ups or wide stance push-ups, whatever you want to call them. I was doing 10, so you guys know I'm also working on my push-ups, so I try to do at least 30 of the normal variation and then the tricep push-ups. And then again, we are back to those lateral raises, and you can see by this point I was struggling by my face, but yeah, upper body day is pretty exhausting because you're literally working every body part, upper body. But here I went on to do those tricep push-ups, which I find a lot more challenging, but I'm definitely getting better at. And this is where your elbows just go straight back, and I was trying to do 10 here, but I did do 3 sets total of this. I then moved on to bicep curls. This is my favorite way to do bicep curls, alternating, and you can see that I first have a normal grip of the dumbbell, and then I bring it laterally. I don't even know what these are called, like just a bicep curl, but this is my favorite way of doing them. I'm not sure if they're called something specific. I prefer to do alternating because I feel I have more control of the weight. These are 15-pound dumbbells, and that's pretty heavy for me. I usually do 8 to 10 per arm. It just depends on the day or how I'm feeling. I wanted to film how I set up for this because these can be sometimes tricky. This is Skull Crusher. I really like these for building triceps, and triceps are something I really want to work on so I can get rid of that, reduce that fat that I have in my lower arm, my tricep area. So these are Skull Crushers, and you basically just have your elbows pointing forward and bring the bar down towards your head. They're called Skull Crushers because if you were to actually go to your head, you would crush your skull. Again, I keep my feet up on the bench because it's more comfortable for me, and that was my last workout, and I moved on to jogging a mile. You guys know I jog at least 2 miles every week, and I typically do that on Tuesdays, the first mile, and that will be on the treadmill. I always run at an incline for some reason. I prefer to do like a 2 incline because it's more comfortable for my knees. I also stretch after going for a jog because my body is warmed up, and this is the perfect time for me to get more flexibility in. These are a couple of more movements, but like I said, I will film a whole stretch with me. For Wednesday's workout, I like to do cardio and abs with Sydney Cummings usually. This is what I've been doing for the last several weeks anyway. I really love Sydney Cummings workouts. They're easy to find. You can just type Sydney Cummings and whatever body part you want to work. So if you prefer to focus on legs or full body, you can find that because she literally has hundreds, probably thousands of videos. And this one I found was cardio and abs for 30 minutes. Now the reason that I split up my week like this is because I did a lower body day, then an upper body day of everything. So I really don't want to do another lower body day with, less than 48 hours between that time. I would rather it be at least like 48 plus 72 hours really. And doing this gives me a nice break between that. So obviously I'm basically working everything when I do this, but it's kind of like a HIIT workout, just getting my heart pumping, staying healthy, still working on my core too, because that's really something that I want to strengthen and improve. So I just split the week up with this. Wednesdays are also one of my busier days just in general. So usually I'll have like a longer day at work, or I'll have more coaching clients or just something come up. So occasionally I'll have to move this around where I make this on, a weekend or something like that, just depends. But I still would split up the week in some shape or form. So maybe I would just make Wednesday a full on rest day, or like I would go for a walk and do some yoga type of thing. But either way, I'm always going to split the week up like this. So I'm just gonna let this play through the rest of it because I don't have much else to say, but I can link this exact video that I did in the description box. We are back to leg day, and now we are doing a quad focused workout. Now, the main difference here when I warm up is, of course, I still warm up, but I do foam roll on this day before working out just to, loosen up my quads because they are always so tight. I did foam roll my back just because this is like the best feeling in the world. But I will do that beforehand. And also I do things a little bit differently when it comes to a quad day warm up, because obviously we need to focus on the front of the legs now instead of the back. So when you do these warm-ups, it's going to cover everything, but also really focusing on that quad. So I do some lunges, as you're seeing here, and I switch to the other leg, and you can see that I'm really squeezing through my quad. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm pulling with my quad, and same with these squats. Like I am squeezing through my quads and also through my glutes, but not doing that ugly butt. Same idea as with the hamstring warm up. I really like these. By the time I get to these, my quads are burning. I don't know why, but these really help to warm up. I do the leg swings just like in the other warm up because, always gotta loosen things up when I'm doing some sort of squat variation, which I will be doing. And then I move on to my squats. So this is a heel elevated squat. I am just warming up with the barbell first, so 45 pounds. And I do go low for these because this is a quad workout, so that's what I prefer to do. You don't have to go that low, but because my heels are elevated, it's a lot easier to go lower. So ask to grass for this. I did want to show the setup of me getting onto that little step up, but this is just a 10-pound plate, so it's not too high up, like 1.5 inches maybe. And then I go all the way down and back up. Here I'm squatting with 95 pounds, and I don't go heavier than that for these. I have before, but just right now I choose not to. And I also, once I add more weight, I decrease the reps. So I think for the warm-up I did maybe 10 to 12, and then at this point I am doing sets of 8. For this, it's a lot of mind muscle connection, so I keep the tension basically the whole time and really squeeze in the quad. I did move on to front elevated lunges, so I have that plate still on the ground. I think this was still a 10. It could have been a 25 to be a little bit higher. And I am lunging with 65 pounds, which this is a 25-pound plate that I'm standing on, so it's a little bit higher. This is what I was talking about where I listened to my body. So this really started to hurt my back, my lower back, and it's probably from the squat and just this, like it was too heavy. I could have gone down, but I just decided to stop the exercise altogether. So I only did 2 sets of 6 on each leg. Again, we're going back to my leg raises. I, again, was still trying to focus on having a lot of control here as much as possible. And I stopped myself on the bench below me for a lot of these, so I don't swing back and forth. Next, I am doing Bulgarian split squats. These are my favorite but least favorite leg exercise. But whenever I do a leg day, a quad day specifically, I always do these. I never miss these because they work phenomenally. And you can see here that I stand pretty close to the bench and I go basically straight up and down based off of the foot that is in front. So I'm really squeezing into that quad. I know I keep saying that, but it's so important. Like quad day and just any exercise that you're doing requires a lot of mind muscle connection. And you have to have that form and make sure that you're really focusing on that squeeze in the right body part that you want to grow. Here I'm holding a 36-pound kettlebell. I finished my quad day with leg extensions. This is what I've been ending with as of lately. And again, I'm going really fast here and I feel like I should slow down, but like when I'm going through these, it's torturous. So I also do high reps for this. So this is 20 reps for 4 sets, and I think I'm doing 75 pounds here. So I used to go really, really heavy on these, like over 100 pounds, but because of my knee pain, I've decided to do higher volume, but with lower weight, and that has been working well for me. And then again, I told you guys I usually will end with a walk if I didn't get a walk in earlier that day. I think for this day, I only did like 10 minutes. And I didn't film it, but of course, you guys know I got my stretching in. Now we're on to Friday. It is another upper body day. We are starting with pull-ups this time. These are assisted, and you can see I put both of my feet in this time.
doing pull-ups in a different area, but same idea here. And in the next clip, you'll see how I climb into this a little bit better. So again, it is those 2 straps, and then you have to make sure you don't fall backwards, because you have to, you could fall and that would be not good. But I do put both of my feet in sometimes. Other times I'll only do 1 foot. I don't really like the imbalance, so I prefer to have both in there, and I'll usually like cross my feet over. And I like to do these chin up style pull-ups. I know some people wouldn't count these as pull-ups. I don't know. That's what I like to do. So I then tried to do some dead hangs. I put a timer, I think for 40 seconds this day, but I couldn't do it. I think I only did 2 sets, but wasn't even able to complete the second set because how bad my forearms were hurting and my hands. So some days I just, I try my best, but I can't always commit all the way through to completing all the sets for these, but still did a little bit of a dead hang here. Now the first actual exercise I did are single arm kneeling rows, I guess you could call them. I put the cable a little bit above shoulder height, so maybe like 1 notch above that. And I do stretch forward for this exercise. You can see what I'm doing. Whichever arm is pulling, I put the opposite leg forward. So as you can see, I'm pulling with my left arm, but my right foot is forward. I find that to be the most comfortable. And I actually had too much weight for sure on that first set, so I did drop down. I even dropped down on the third set that I was doing because it was just too heavy. But I really like to stretch forward with these and then pull back. These are one of my favorite back exercises. It feels so good. I then moved on to tricep pushdowns, and for these I do kind of push the rope outward a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see that. I superset these with some front raises. I always go really light on front raises because I don't want large front delts. It also hurts. It's not necessary to go heavy. I alternated between this like lateral position of doing those raises to a like palms facing in position. You'll see in the next clip. But for these tricep pushdowns, I actually went a little bit heavier. I think I was doing 35 pounds. I'm trying, like I said before, I'm really trying to work on my triceps to make them stronger. Down to chest flies, flat bench chest flies. Again, have my feet propped up because that's how I am most comfortable. With these, you should feel this in your pecs, like you should feel the squeezing happening. And again, I can't really show you here because you can't see what I'm actually feeling, but when you push together, you should kind of just like, it should be squeezing your chest together. I then moved on to a variation of hammer curls, so it's like where you're bringing it inward. I'm so sorry if these have actual proper names, but that's the best way I can describe it. I supersetted these with push-ups, same idea as the other upper body day where I was doing this style of push-up and then went back to the bicep curls, these cross bicep curls. These are 15 pounds again, by the way, and again to those tricep style push-ups or elbow back push-ups. I remember on this day, for some reason, I felt so strong. I did 10 of these in a row. I probably could have done more, but you can see I'm obviously struggling, but I just felt super powerful this day and I was very excited about it. So I don't know if it was something I ate or took or what happened. I was just, I think I'm just progressing in the gym, which is super exciting to see and to feel. I then moved on to these rear delt flies. I like these a lot. I think they burn pretty good. So these are 10-pound dumbbells. You just bend over, keep your back straight, keep your neck in line, just like with, you know, any other movement that's similar to this, and you lift back, fly away. And with some flexing, because I do that a lot. I think it's fun. Don't be afraid to appreciate your body and flex if you want to. I always try to do those like bodybuilder poses, the like bikini competition poses. Definitely not good at it, but I think it's fun. I then went on to walking. Eventually I'm going to start doing Stairmaster again, but this was just an incline walk. I think I did 30 minutes that day. Now to Saturday. We are done in the gym for the week, and I did go for a walk. It was like an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. I think maybe a mile and a half or two. And then when I got back, I did some yoga. So my favorite yoga instructor on YouTube is Sarah Beth Yoga, because her cues are really easy to understand, and I like her style of yoga flows. So I did a 30-minute one with her. I can link it down below. And I'm not a professional at yoga. I think it feels really good. I think it's amazing to get your balance in, your stretching, get your, every body part is going to be working with yoga, and I love the challenge of it. So I think it's something that's an amazing thing to incorporate no matter who you are. And I find it to be challenging, but also very relaxing. This was more of a workout one, but also lots of balance in there, as you can see, and just some classic yoga moves, which I love. Besides that, I don't have much else to say in regards to this, but it's just gonna speed through the rest. And Sunday, I went for my mile jog. I went outside. It was a lot warmer this day, so I did go jogging outside. I think I finished my mile in 9 minutes and 55 seconds, and then I walked all the way back home, which was an additional mile and a half or so. So I was outside for over an hour, which was really nice. But that is it for my week of workouts. Comment down below what you thought of this. Do you prefer a voiceover? Do you prefer just music? Do you have any specific questions, or what else would you like to see in regards to week of workouts? But thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. This took quite a bit of time. And subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.